Well, that's the same thing a lot of Nigerians have been talking about. Dr. Okupe, a moment here.
It's just that now that, yeah?
A moment here, sorry to butt in, because we're trying to see how much of time we can take to cover all of this. A whole lot of talk concerning this Maina issue. Now, we'll still go back to the HOS. There's this talk that Maina, because if we put in everything on the presidency, it's just because, well, the officers are also directly, in a way, under the presidency, the executive arm. That is why people are talking about the presidency, but not the president. We're talking about the office now. It's the office of House members as well as the Senate. Don't forget that even the Senate president also spoke on this matter. We heard that a little earlier. He said it's not about Gbajabiamila now, even a member of the PDP. He said the executive had to choose between Maina and this particular matter. Now, take it back to the HOS issue. Why is it so difficult for the HOS?
And then the president chose the Senate. The president chose the Senate.
So why is it difficult for the HOS, the head of service, to actually give Maina a query, penalize Maina on this whole matter? We haven't heard from him. It's just about the police.
Sulai.
I'm with you.
Sulai. You know, this is still a country and a government that is run by law. All right? Can you take a case to a court and without presenting the accused and the judge will now pass judgment? Is it possible? So the first thing that must be done, we are too anxious and too desperate in this country. Sometimes we want the law to be abrogated. Sometimes we say rule of law must be obeyed. It is one judge. It is one manner of governance, and it can only be that manner of governance. Look, it's either we agree that we want to run a civilized democracy where rule of law is followed, or we want to do jungle system. You know, the head of service, I'm sure, has prepared whatever he needs to prepare. Maina has to appear and be brought before it, and then, actions can be taken. Well, but in his absence, it is still not going to be justified. And I don't speak for the head of service. I'm not a civil servant as such. I've not worked in the civil service before, so I really don't know the details of how the civil service disciplinary action takes place. But I know that, the head of service will take appropriate action that is needful and that is lawful, at the correct time.
I think I'm just privileged.
It has now left the purview of the presidency, and let us accept that.
Allow me come in here.
And the president does not deserve insult because of that.
I think I'm one privileged Nigerian who's worked in the civil service, so I understand how it works. Whether Maina is seen or not, whether Maina is seen or not, the head of service should have actually issued a memo to Maina. At least with all of this making national news, he should have been able to let people know that he has actually given him a memo to explain some issues concerning this pension scam. But people say he's not doing so. Perhaps, maybe, he's been compromised as well. I know you're not speaking for the HOS, but I'm telling you what is going on, because by now, no one should have been talking about the presidency if the HOS had done the needful.
You know what I think? You know what I believe? I said it before, and I'm saying it again. This matter has left the purview of the presidency. The media and the members of the public can actually summon the head of service and ask, what is actually going on. Whatever his constraints are, and whatever he plans to do, I'm sure he'll make it open. He's a public servant. Unfortunately, I cannot defend him. I cannot speak for him. And I've just told you, I didn't have the fortune of working and understanding civil service regulations.
Okay, but Dr. Okupe, we have people asking questions here. Harry said it says, the government has a lot of information, much more than any individual in the country. And Harry also says that, who ordered the security, about 30 security men that follow him about? And he says that the executive arm of government should be aware of this information. And then another comment says that Maina still resides in the Nigerian embassy in Switzerland.
Chamberlain, that is an issue I cannot comment on. That Maina is residing in the Nigerian embassy in Switzerland. You see, there's a lot of, in fact, it's not just pension scam. There's a media scam here. You understand? Anything goes in this country. The other day, somebody said 1 billion naira was used to celebrate President Goodluck Jonathan's Thanksgiving. You know, then I asked, I said, does that include the cost of the building? You know, we just say anything in this country. You know, how can somebody, you know, what is the evidence? You know, anybody just says anything. Obi Ezekwesili went to a convocation ceremony, and just, you know, from her brain, she just brought out a figure, 67 billion, and everybody is running amok because of that. She has no proof, no evidence. You know, these are things that we should not, Chamberlain, I'm sorry, we should not engage ourselves and discuss about. I woke up at 7 o'clock this morning to come to this program. I cannot come to this program just to discuss some, you know, some rumors or things that are totally unauthentic, cannot be verified, that Maina is still sitting in a Nigerian embassy. It doesn't make sense to me.
Okupe,
why should Maina be sitting in a Nigerian embassy?
Dr. Okupe, if I may come in here, you've avoided one issue. I mean, a host of people, and I'm sure that the senators did voice their concern as well, so did the House, voiced their concern as to how this man blatantly drives around Abuja in 2 SUVs, bulletproof SUVs, and a convoy of security men. Is this a fact you're also contesting?
Marque, I have seen Maina, you know, I have seen Maina about, I mean, sometimes towards the end of last year. I agree with you that, you know, and I've also seen him on television, you know, with policemen. Now, a person that is doing the type of job Maina was doing, all right, will need a lot of protection. People who steal 23 billion, 40 billion are not small men, and they can procure for themselves anything. So, you know, if you are doing that kind of job and you are unveiling such dangerous things, you know, if, I mean, I'm sure that was why Maina was giving those security cover. All right, but the moment you flout the law and you disobey the Constitution of Nigeria, you have crossed the line.
So by extension,
you know, I'm sure whatever Maina is now.
Let me come in here.
Police cover.
Dr. Okupe, let me come in here. You haven't denied that. In fact, you say that you've seen him do that. A host of people feel that this is one of the reasons why he feels that he is above the law and has absolutely no regard for the head of service.
But I mean, you know, it's not a matter of having any regard for the head of service or not. A man that has treated the Senate, the hallowed chambers of the Senate with impunity, you know, is capable of doing anything. But that is not the issue. Whether he has regard for the head of service or head of anything does not matter. The police have a job to do, and I believe that they have the capability to do it, and they will do it. You know, whether he has regard or not is not an issue. The fact now is that Maina is a fugitive and is on the run.
Dr. Okupe, this is very important. Dr. Okupe, may I jump in here? You say that whether it has regard for the head of service is not important. The police have a job to do. This is important because in a statement released by the presidency, they say that the head of service has been ordered to look into it. Now, if the head of service or this man has no regard for the head of service, how effective is the head of service supposed to be in this matter?
The head of service is a very senior civil servant, and I know he knows his onions, and he knows how to do his job. You know, Maina has nothing to do with the performance of the head of service, and you should know that. That's the truth. You know, I mean, if, you know, the real issue is that Maina must be brought to book by the Nigerian police first. You know, we must search for him. And, you know, there's nowhere to hide in the world anymore. If it is true that Maina is outside this country, the Interpol can trace him and they will get him. You know, so, you know, there's no need for us to now continue to contrive rumors and, you know, things that do not exist and say that, you know, somebody is backing him, he's staying in Switzerland or he's staying in Germany. It's all that blatter word. It is not true. And I can tell you on authority, you know, I mean, to suggest what you're saying is to say that, you know, we've got somebody that has no reputation in the presidency. A president cannot issue a warrant of arrest for a citizen, cannot ask that a citizen should be, you know, disciplined, and at the same time, you know, use his own machinery to hide such a person. This is not that kind of presidency. It is not true, and it is unfair. It is not fair for us to discuss or to suggest this. It is not correct. We must begin to believe in ourselves at a point.